Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's a big holiday in the United States. Neither of us are in the United States right now.
And around us, nobody cares.
And around us, nobody cares. Yeah. In fact, we were wondering if there would be any of our regulars showing up. Looks like no.
I'm not surprised.
No.
But
it's a big
it's
holiday.
not that bad be talking to the best friend I have in the world, right?
Thank you. You're one of my best friends, too. You're only beaten out by a friend of mine that I met when I was like 25 or 6 in Winnipeg.
Mhm.
And I was dating this gal, and I broke up with her, and I have a roommate, and I come into the apartment, and she and my roommate are sound asleep on his bed. So that was like, and the funny thing is they probably never did anything, but like he knew I broke up. He knew I didn't want to have her around, and she's manipulating to be there. And I didn't know what to do. So my friend Rick is 10 years older than me. And we were talking, and he said, well, if you need a place to crash. And I said, oh, thank you. And I think he meant like for a couple nights. And then he said, well, I'm going away this weekend. I said, no problem. Just give me the key. I'll move in and you won't have to worry about a thing. So the next year and a half, we were roommates, had a great time, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting that. And he gets back from his trip, and there had been a windstorm that morning, and it had slammed his outdoor, because we're in Winnipeg, his outdoor screen door, and cracked the glass.
Wow.
So he comes in, he sees this broken door, and I'm like happy as can be to see him. And he's like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? But the only way he could get me out of the house was he moved back to Vancouver. So I'm very thankful to you, and I'm very thankful to my friend Rick, because he helped me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I have few friends from way back when. But yeah, anyway, it's, male bond is something that's not that common. I mean, it's usually gained in some sort of difficult situation, like war or team sports, fighting against something. Those are usually the strongest bonds, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Or meeting somebody that you really appreciate somehow.
Yeah, there has to be some big thing to create the bond, because otherwise there's you and there's Rick. There's other people that I would say are friends, but there's this movie that Ben Affleck was in with whoever played Hawkeye in the Marvel movies, Jeremy Roenick, or I don't know what his name is. And in a New York Bronx accent, Affleck goes up to him, and Roenick is watching TV and just sort of hanging out, and he says, I gotta ask you a favor, but you can't ask me about it. People are going to get hurt, and you can never ask me about it, and people are going to get hurt. And one other thing, right? And Roenick looks up at him and he says, whose car are we taking?
Yeah.
And I've had that experience with you.
That's the I'm all in response, right? Have been in before you opened your mouth.
That's right. That's right. And it's rare, like you said. And I think it's also rare because we're a lot more mobile, I think, than we used to be. Right.
Right.
So you're in the town, and all of a sudden you go to another town, and you may know one or two people there, but you're starting all over from scratch.
Right. I think it's the Marines that have the Semper Fi, Semper Fidel, right? Or Fidelius, which that to them, that leaves no one behind, right? Like you just never give up.
Never give up. Yeah. Leave no one behind. We need more of that. I think
we definitely need more of that.
Yeah. We get into this sort of busy life where, you know, we're busy doing whatever we're doing, and it's too busy to really make relationships.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Other than like business.
the other
right?
way we get is family, right? That's this holiday, I think, is primarily about that. I think people are mostly getting with family rather than friends.
Yeah.
And,
Hard to say. I mean, it'd be interesting to do a survey on that because it's NFL football from 9 in the morning until midnight. I'm probably exaggerating,
okay.
right? But so that's, you know, the guys all get together, and it could be cousins and brothers and uncles and stuff. And they got the popcorn, they got the beer, and they're cheering their team on.
Yep. Drinking beer, eating popcorn.
Yeah.
Carbohydrate heaven. So
Yes.
speaking of which, right? I mean, did you know that 300 million pounds of food is thrown out in the United States right after the Thanksgiving holiday?
No.
That's a fancy number. Big.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Which isn't that big, right? There's a country of 300 something million people is only throwing away on average a pound per person. But that's a lot. That's about this much food, right? It could feed. Another thought. We eat somewhere around 2 to 3 pounds of food per day, right? So that would be something like 1,000 pounds a year.
Yep. 700, 800 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting world.
But, you know,
Anyway,
you bring up a great point, Martin, in that, you know, we have all this waste. And then there's the bureaucrats that are going to say, well, you can't give, and this happened to a friend of mine, you can't give this food to the homeless or the shelters because, you know, we don't know if it's got Ebola from sitting around or some other big bacteria. And it's like, oh, man. Because a friend of mine did an event at the Hard Rock Cafe, and she said, wow, like, you know, there's enough food for 400 people. We only have 250. Like, let's pack this all up and take it to the, oh, no, we can't do that. It's just like, wow, we have to figure out some way to be able to distribute the food, because the problem isn't no food we're starving. The problem is too much food we're starving.
Well, okay, there's the calorie versus the nutrition problem.
Right.
I was just thinking in my head, we are still currently running a clearance on all things that are at or past best before date. And best before, just think about the words, best before, right? So there's a date, and we know for sure up to that date, we have tested that the product is 100%. It's going to be 99% after that date.
That's
not
right.
zero.
Yeah.
And we sell mostly dried stuff, powders and whatever. When you remove moisture, things last for decades. So anyway, got a call from a lady who received a product that's past the best before date. And I said, you bought it on 50% off. And she said, I wasn't aware of it. And I said, I'll send you a return ticket to return it. She says, I don't want to do that. I will just put it into a donation bin somewhere. And I don't ever want to do business with your company. And I'm saying to her, you know, this conversation has not gone the way I expected. I'm trying to explain to you that the product may be 98 or 99% as good as, and we're giving it to you at 50% off. And she had none of it. So I learned something today or yesterday. That's when the conversation was. Not everybody would like to have reason applied. Some people would just as soon have rules applied. And they are, there's no wiggle room.
No.
So she was probably a judging rather than a perceiving personality type. My guess.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's you reminded me of the daughter-in-law of friends of my parents. they had a baby. And the baby is growing up in a completely sterile environment.
Okay.
Not allowed to play on the grass, not allowed to, be on the ground, not allowed. I'm just like, and this woman is disinfectant.
Yeah.
Don't touch
So
the baby.
would you label it OCD versus or germaphobe?
Germaphobe, I think.
Okay.
And it's just amazing that she has got to that point, right? Because her parents, she's from like Pakistani or Tashkent or the
Somewhere
mountainous
Middle
region.
Asia, right?
Yeah, the Middle Age. Yeah, Middle Ages almost. Middle Asia. These are, they're walking with their camels on paths up and down mountains. One of my friends actually is in that area, and it's absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
But there's no like road, right? There's a track.
Yeah.
And
hygiene is occasional.
Well, and he just said it's probably better than here.
Yeah.
Right?
You know the rule about food and toilet in that country or those countries out there? They eat food with their hands, and it's always left hand, because with your right hand, you wipe your bum.
Oh, okay. So anyway, there was a river, like a river, like I'd call it a stream going down the mountain, right?
All right.
And he says, the best water I've ever tasted is from this stream. He's got his little water bottle, right? He's just sticking it in. He's not putting any blue pills or any, he's just like drinking right out of it, right? Because he can see there's nothing up there. And he's just having a great time. And it was just like, to me, like our muscles, right? You need to exercise and have good tone on your muscles. Yeah. And if you're not getting, if you're living in a sterile environment, it's going to sterilize you, like the good germs in your body. And B, when you go somewhere and somebody coughs on you, you're just going to get sick because you have no experience with anything.
Interesting thoughts, Scott. I buy my food mostly organic, fruits and vegetables, and I do not wash them, which shocks people. Like I actually just take a carrot. It's an organic carrot. I take it out of the bag, and I may rinse it, but usually not. And it just goes straight into the salad, right? Anyway, I exercise my immune system all the time. I have had loose bowel the odd time, but I'm considering that an exercise.
That's right. Well, right now, I am what we call detoxing, and what the world would say is I have a cold. And yes, my nose today was just like Niagara Falls.
Wow.
And my forehead is like, oh, I've got a bit of a headache. And but I know
the sinuses are flushing full bore.
Yeah. But what has happened with me, and we talked about it before we went on the air, but I want to share for the one person watching or was watching. There was one person watching us, Martin, on Thanksgiving Day. But super I was in South Africa. I was in Midrand, which is just north of Johannesburg, and it's very much not really agricultural, but the lots are 2 or 3 acres, and they're spread out. And we were at the end of at the side of a gravel road, and so the traffic was at least half a mile away if there was any traffic, but it wasn't like I'm now in Dubai and oh my goodness, this is traffic. Like
Dubai is about as busy as downtown New York, right? Like it's dense.
Yeah, and I'm not even in downtown Dubai. I'm kind of on the edge of Dubai, another town. But like there's 4 lanes behind me, and there's 6 lanes on the other side, and there's like 2 or 3 little lanes, little streets between us. And every time I go, it's just like packed. When I walk around the neighborhood, this one's packed, that one's packed. And I'm thinking, oh, like I'm not used to car exhaust.
Yeah.
Right. And then where I was staying in Midrand, it was really open. Like there was an open patio on the front. There was a big patio on the back. There was a pool. And, we would walk the dogs around and sit outside in the sun.
Yeah. Windows open and all that, right?
Windows. I would open all the windows in the morning and I would close all of them at night because I didn't want too many mosquitoes coming in.
Right.
And now here I am. I'm in the 6th floor of this hotel. I cannot open the window. They're all sealed. So it's air conditioned air. And I'm just like, and now after 2 or 3 days, you have the flight and you're up late and up early and all the rest of it. And now here I am with this detox that's going on. And I thought, but the cool thing is like when okay, it was a little bit stressful. I was sad leaving the dog. So there's the emotional part of it. I'm in a new country. I can't read any of the writing because it's their Arabic scrolling stuff. And, everybody's nice and you can figure things out. Not a problem, but you've got that, like, how am I going to survive here? And then you've got the totally different environment, still warm. So that's not different, but the pollution and everything else is pretty obvious. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look across the water, it's kind of like, it's like a fog without the fog.
Yeah, it's dust. It's desert dust in the air. There's a huge amount of particulate matter. And I think it's possible that that's what you're reacting to, because it's the particulate in the air that is actually difficult to cope with.
Yeah. I think you're right. So,
irritated sinuses, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Particularly along here. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, but Dubai is trying to be the financial industrial hub of the planet at the moment. They really are going for it among multiple centers, right? That there's definitely New York and Tokyo, but Dubai is going for it.
Yeah. So, and I guess my main point is when you have an idea of why you get the cold and it's like a detox, that's a very different way of looking at it than I got a cold, I'm so sick, I'm gonna
I have a proposition for you. Try baking soda in a bathtub.
I just had a bath, hot as I could make it, and I put magnesium oil in it.
You found some good. Okay.
I had some magnesium oil from my last order.
Yeah.
So I just hot as I can, got as low as I could so that the heat would. And there's a sauna here, so tomorrow I'm going to have a sauna in the morning.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well.
Okay. So there was one other thing I was going to say.
Yes.
And that is, there's a free breakfast here. I mean, there's no place to cook. Like you have to either go to a restaurant or their free breakfast.
Right.
And so for the last 6 weeks, I've been frying up some eggs in coconut oil. I love fried eggs in coconut oil, right? And maybe there's some onion in there and a little bit of cheese on it. And so here I have an omelet, and I was watching the guy, and he's got one of these plastic, the plastic ketchup things. It's red, but it doesn't have ketchup in it. It has oil, probably seed oil, right? And he's making me an omelet. Like, what else would it be?
I don't know.
No,
probably seed oil. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to put coconut oil in that thing. And so he's, so I'm thinking, wow, so here I am, I'm having seed oil with my
egg,
with my omelets. I wonder if that's having an impact.
That will, first cut, right? After 8 weeks of healthy, you start the unhealthy, it hits you right away, right?
Yep. So,
what's better than coconut oil? Duck fat. The best scrambled eggs you can ever make is made with duck fat. I promise you, it's the most amazing thing.
It's funny how we grow up and then there's these really deep beliefs. Like I've been reading about and watching stuff on raw milk, right? And when I was growing up, my aunts and uncles had cows out on the farm, and they would, do their thing with the cow, and they would have milk, and we would have, and it was no big deal. And then all of a sudden it's pasteurized and homogenized, and, you can't have raw milk. And
Hey,
And
Scott, we have a question from one of our guests,
all right.
and I don't understand the question.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Will you list the products suggested for this?
please
So what?
define this, Michael.
Yes. What would you,
Are we talking about the detox?
or the cold?
Well,
See,
anyway, if you want to detox your body, you need to alkalize the bath. Oh, the liver cleanse. Okay, let's
yeah,
go.
see, we were
Scott.
supposed to talk about liver, and because nobody was here, we thought we'd wait till next week. But we can talk about liver. Let's talk about liver.
Let's do that. Well, okay, so liver is a super important organ. It looks after several things, producing of glycogen, which is the human glucose. And the second thing is it actually converts toxic things into non-toxic things, which is called methylation. And you need to support that. So we were going to mention 3 products, right?
Well, the new liver was the only one I was really prepared to talk about.
Okay. So the simple ways, you can get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea, which is a milk thistle and malva and a couple of things, which is really inexpensive, but not particularly powerful. That it works great for people who have mild, minor problems. Like if you have congested liver, obesity, that sort of thing, then Holy Tea is a fine thing. But if you want to fix your liver because you have abused it for some time, the new liver formula is the rebuilder. It's named that way to help the body build the liver again in a better shape. And we have it in 2 sizes. Double price buys you triple size. So it's kind of cool that way. And what should be said about it? Well, the ingredients are a bunch of plants that help to stimulate the liver to work and to repair. Also, amino acids directly. Yeah, on the ingredients tab, that's where you find it. See, there's coenzyme Q10. Silymarin, that's from milk thistle. Lecithin, that's an emulsifier that helps to bind things, all fat, and your liver is making bile salts that emulsify fat in your body. So this will help with the process that it needs to do. Turmeric, as in curcumin, is the most powerful antioxidant going. Burdock is another thing, which is a herb that helps to detoxify the liver. And an important mineral, MSM, sulfur, that's really important for helping the liver function correctly. So anyway, you need probably about 2 large bottles to rebuild any one person. I remember this one lady, she was on a waiting list for a liver transplant. She was that bad, like jaundiced, yellow, in a bad way. By the time she finished her second bottle, they took her off the waiting list and she was actually functional, just normal life. So new liver formula, well worth it.
So Martin, would you recommend that everybody get some? Like, generally speaking, is it something that everybody has a problem with their liver?
From time to time, yes.
Yeah, not every month, but like once a year or twice a year.
Yeah, I do 1 bottle once a year, whether I need it or not. Well, I assume I need it.
Yeah. So when I was young, in my early 20s, I had hepatitis. So I've always had problems with my liver, as you know.
I did also, by the way.
So I've tried to, I haven't like made it a rule, but usually once or twice a year, I'll get the liver cleanse and just, I figure it's a new liver. I mean, I figure I need to really work at supporting it because
especially with your recent history. Yeah. Yet that was a curious thing, right? Scott's liver one day decided that it just going offline. Bizarre.
Yeah. And nobody knew, and I didn't do any drugs or smoke or
you were showing the symptoms of somebody who's on drugs, right?
Yeah. The Wolf of Wall Street basically are 50% of the people that get what I had are the Wolf of Wall Street type, where they're up too late, there's too much drinking, too much smoking, too many drugs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember being, sort of half there or a third there, and four doctors came in, and one asked me a whole bunch of questions, and I said, no, no, no. And then they left, and 4 hours later, the next shift came in, and four doctors, and they asked me the same questions. No, no, no. And then the third shift started, and four doctors came in. And at this point, finally, it was like, well, they're trying to find something out. And for some reason, they're not just asking me. And then I realized, oh, they think I'm probably a drug addict. So I told them I go to yoga 3 times a week. I walk a mile 4 times a week. I ride my bike. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't have medication that's legal or medication that's illegal. And they go, oh, thank you for telling us. And why they can't just say it, I don't know.
Yeah, that's rough.
It was weird, but yeah, it was. And all they could do, which was the best thing to do because I'm living, was total rest. And the pancreas got inflamed, and they said, you can't eat or drink for a week.
Shut it down, right? Eat from your reserves.
Yeah, so they kept me hydrated through my arms, and then every once in a while, someone would, like week or two, someone would come in with a meal and say, "Okay, you can have something to eat," and then but
it's kind of interesting when you start consuming the body. First thing that goes is the fat reserves, and then the muscles. Right, the muscles start getting consumed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
so
glad.
That's why new liver is important to me.
Yeah,
and
I'm
Lazarus.
glad, and I'm grateful, and I'm thankful that somehow that did get resolved. Yeah. So we got to spend more time together. You know what's interesting? This Thanksgiving thing. It's about gratitude, right? It's the vibration of gratitude, which is the vibration of healing. The opposite of that is the thought of grievance or complaint or resentment. And what's interesting is that people who dwell on the emotion of unforgiveness, that's the vibration for cancer. So gratitude is the opposite of that. Right. And today should be, normally, it should be a festival of us expressing gratitude for everything.
Yeah.
So if you get together with people with whom you still have a grievance, please find a way to resolve it, because leaving it on or leaving it in or packing it around is the vibration of illness.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We want to restore vitality to you and the planet. So Michael has a question. I have Hashimoto, very low on T3 in the blood and cells, fatigue, constipation, inflammation, low key. Yeah.
How key is the liver? Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Well, Michael, this Hashimoto business is primarily a viral problem. If you can believe it, you can look it up. There's a dude called Medical Medium, Anthony Robert, and he put out a thought in which he says that it's the Epstein-Barr virus, the same one that gives people chronic fatigue, that sometimes it gets into the thyroid and causes this dysfunction in thyroid. That low thyroid or underperforming thyroid is called Hashimoto's syndrome. So 3 things. 1, selenium is the support element that you require to improve T4 to T3 conversion. T4 is supplied into body as levothyroxine, but you can supply any iodine. You can go with seaweed. You can go with a detoxified iodine like thyroidine that we sell on our website. But you go with that, and you must support it with selenium, 200 micrograms of selenium every day. Because when you have that, that will well, improve the T4 to T3 conversion, which is this low T3 in the blood problem that you have. And go with that. The only other thing I have that's like a whole body improvement is nanosoma. I would put the money into that. I would do nanosoma, not the maintenance dose, which is 1 bottle a week. I would do, pardon me, a month. I would do the accelerated dose, 1 bottle a week, which, sorry about that, is pricey, $200 per month. But if you go for it, you probably only need something like 6 to 8 bottles to flush through all of the deficiencies of the virological kind in the body. So I would hope that you would see. Yeah, but what this means is 5 sprays 4 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime. Keep going until you start improving. You will probably have some sort of a crisis, some sort of an event that will give you a pause, and that probably is the time when you can start slowing it down.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Martin.
Yeah.
And everybody, we've come kind of to the end of our time together.
Yes, we have.
Got it. Michael has some nanosoma. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate you. And this is the time where we tell you that you can head over to t.me.
Don't bother today.
Not today? Okay.
I'm not hanging out there all by myself. Nobody's coming.
Everybody, enjoy your Thanksgiving. We really appreciate having you in our lives and helping us help other people restore vitality to you and the planet. And Martin, any last words before we say goodnight?
Mm-hmm. Detox in peace. May you restore your full vitality overnight. Sometimes it takes a while. When I did my major detox, my first detox, it was 10 days. And I was I was blowing my nose. I rubbed it raw. So I was going over to the bathroom every 10 minutes and blowing my nose right into the sink. Pretty disgusting, if you ask me, but that's what was needed.
Right. Awesome. Well, I'm going to make sure I have some nanosoma before I go to bed, and hopefully tomorrow
you wake up in full force. Okay.
That's right. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.